Well, this is the start of my second video, and I'm starting with, sorry about the shakiness, I've had to do this on my knees. I put 3 feet of keel guard on the front of the kayak. I turned it upside down and put it on while the kayak was still empty. So what I'm starting to do here is disassemble the things that I don't need for the build. And I'm starting with removing these foot stops that I guess could be converted to a rudder if you were to use a pedal system. But I won't be needing them for my build, so they're being removed. I'll save the hardware. Also, I'm removing this plug that covers the opening where the pedal system would go if you were to use a pedal system. And this exposes the underside of the kayak to the water, which I will need when I add my fish finder. So in this process, I'm going to be working on the console, which will cover this opening and allow me to put my electronics and what have you in it. I've already fabricated these while I was waiting for the kayak. This is my throttle speed control, and these are my steering pedals. And I'll show you more of those as the video goes on. But I did these while I was waiting for the kayak because I had needed something to do. And I'll show you the inside of this speed controller later on. But this is about where the pedal system's going to go. And you'll see there tubing. You quickly saw that tubing, which will house the cable that I'm putting in there, which is a Kevlar, 300-pound Kevlar para line. Kite line, I guess they call it. But it's pretty strong. It's pretty small for a 300-pound line. And it's Kevlar. All right, I'm working on back here. I'm working on the trolling motor support. And the first thing I need to do is cut loose the existing steering tubes because I want to reroute them to a better location at the stern. And that's what I'll be doing right now. Okay, they were down low, and I'm not real sure how they would have even worked with a rudder, but I'm locating them up top so they can access the steering arm, which I'm going to attach to the trolling motor. These being relocated allows very little pedal movement to turn the motor 90 degrees in either direction, which is nice because it allows me to steer the kayak in a near stationary location. In other words, it can turn on its own axis. It doesn't need to make a circle. It just turns like you were standing in place and turning around. And that's really nice. I'm using tie wraps to keep these tubes in place so they don't pull back into the kayak. to add a second. I'm going to add a second tie wrap to each one of these before I cut the tubes off. That way I'm certain that there's no way they're going to slip through the first tie wrap. So that's that. And I've got 2 tie wraps on each of these tubes, so I'm assured that they're not going to be pulling back into the kayak. And they're pulled pretty tight inside the hull. A pretty straight line from one point to the other, so there's no sag in it. Now what I'm doing is there's an additional tubes in this kayak which are larger, and I can only assume that they were put in to raise and lower the rudder if you were to add a rudder on this. I'm not going to be using these. These terminate behind the seat, and I really have no use for them, but I don't want water getting in them because it'll stagnate. So I'm sealing them off rather than pulling them out and capping off the holes. It's just a little easier. I'm sealing them off with silicone. There's my new mount board made out of 3/4 inch starboard. It's actually not starboard. It's called marine board. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to mount this permanently to the hull. It protrudes out the back of the hull 3 inches, so the base of the motor clears the hull. I'm using all stainless hardware on this. These happen to be 2-inch, quarter 22-inch stainless steel pan head screws, and I'll be using fender washers underneath with lock nuts, so I don't have to worry about them coming loose. That was just to make sure that I don't drill too far back and go through the rear of the stern. Once this third screw is in place, this trolling motor mount isn't going anywhere. It has become part of the kayak. pays to be a little careful when you're doing this right now, because if you drop a nut or a washer down into the hull, it travels far away, and the only way to get it back is to drop the hull down, so it gravitates back toward the back. But I didn't have any problem in this case. Pays to use a ratchet on this, because you want to put the last few turns on the nut and not on the screw. That way you get a much tighter fit. There you go. I had to replace that rear screw, because I found that if you run the screw into the lock nut too fast, it sometimes will cross thread. And once it cross threads, it's real pain getting it out. But I was able to get it out, and I'm replacing it now. And I'll be much more cautious about running this into the lock nut now. Slowly, slowly. Very good. And that's that. Now I just wait for the trolling motor to get here. I'll start on the console now. And that'll be on my next video. I do like to stand back and admire my work once in a while.